you have to get and Linda, you brought this up before with Excel. This is raw data again, yes? Once again, we're back with raw data. We have each individual data point, and you put everything into L1. This is the most simple kind of analysis to run. So if you're in your TIs, and you ran all your data through your L1, I put it in L1, you put it in L1. And you want to run one bar stats, for example. You're probably thinking to yourself, oh my God, there's that L1, L2, there's that comma button I got to worry about. Not with this. When you got raw data like this, all you've got to do is go to stat, calc, one bar stats. That's it. If you got raw data, this was Bert and Ernie back in the day, right? Bert and Ernie, everything's in one list. Boom. What if it's what? Oh, if you put your data in L2, no problem. All you got to do is do one bar stats and then just tell it L2 by itself, and then you press enter. I'm gonna get an invalid dim because my L2 is empty, but you will not. Fair enough. So, but by default, if you put your data in L1, you can just run one bar stats, whatever. When do you have to do the L1 comma L2 thing? Why do you have to do that? Right, when you have a frequency, when you have group data. Linda, go ahead. You were gonna say that? Yeah, like on the quiz, yes, for today, if you did the gas and diesel prices, you had to do that because you had a frequency histogram, and you had to pull the frequencies and put them in L2, and the gas prices and put them in L1. Fair enough? But this, we don't have it grouped. It's all just raw data. So you guys averaged 15.32 states, 15 to the third states each. So if we took all the states that you guys have all been to, with repeating, I mean we all put Oregon, so we've gone to Oregon once. We spread that out evenly. And then we've been to Delaware. I'll have to donate Delaware. Who's been to Delaware besides me? Anybody? I always like asking that. Nobody. Okay, so I'll cut my Delaware up 25 different little pieces and give you each a piece of Delaware, which is not that much actually. It's probably about a couple square feet. But that's what the average is, 15.32, with a plus or minus of about 8. So 15 plus or minus 8. Fair enough. Good. Very, very nice. Very, very nice. I want you to scroll down. I want you to scroll down. This is fun. This is fun here. What do these tell you? You know some of them tell you already, actually. What do these tell you?
The medium is 14.
Good! What does that mean? It means lit is 14. We talked about that before, right? Didn't we? So what does that 14, median of 14 mean?
It's very center from the 36 down to the 6.
Yes, and if you think about how we manually calculated median before, with the chop, 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 sometimes we would chop some, but some would remain with the same numerical value. That's what's happening here, right? Yeah. There are 3 14s, but one of them didn't get chopped. The one in the middle, the 13th one, I think, right? With 25 data points. 12 on the bottom, 12 on the top, and 13's in the middle there. Number 13, no matter which way you go. Good. So you know what the median is. You know what the min is. You know what the max is. Okay, I want to swing over to the sideboard. I want to talk about those because these are kind of all measures of relative position. You've got your minimum value. You've got your median value. And you've got your maximum value. You've also got those two guys wedged in the center there between them. I want to talk about those soon, as in like a minute and a half.
Q1 and Q3.
But I want to start with the median. Because we've talked about him for a while now, right? He is the middle. He's the halfway point. Could you view him as a percentile? Because that is one of these measures of relative position, or percentiles. If you had to pick a percentile to assign to the median, what percentile would you assign to it? I vote for 50 from John. The 50th percentile, Macy seconds. All in favor? I love it. All opposed? Discussion. Oh, please discuss. Please discuss. Please discuss, right? Remember that? Remember that? When we calculated Linda, she was 14. And there were 11 below her, which meant we calculated her at the 44th percentile, not the 50th. But then remember, because there were 2 other 14s, if we start slapping some of those into the calculation, it actually gets up to the 50th, I think even above the 50th, right, if you go far enough. So the question is, not is it always going to be exactly the 50th percentile, P50 or the 50th percentile. The question is it going to average to to the 50th percentile over repeated data sets? And the answer to that is yes, and or go contiguous, which it will definitely be. So the median will be the 50th percentile on average over time. Sometimes it's not, especially with small data sets. That's the kicker. When you have tiny, small data sets like this, it doesn't always work out. When you have continuous data sets, it will always work out just because the numbers are on our side. It's to force people with us. But with small data sets, it gets noisy. When each one of you is 4% of the data, we can't even land directly on 50, can we? You go from 44 to 48 to 52, there is no 50th percentile by our calculation. But as the sample sizes get bigger, they begin to collapse. So you can call it the 50th percentile. I'm totally down with that. Is that fair? Maybe. Ish. It takes, it's like your first like growing pain of ish. Can we live to call the median the 50th percentile? Can we learn to think of it that way? Hopefully. It's the halfway point. If you cross off until you get to the middle. It's the halfway point. Is that okay? Can we live with that? Again, it's a human-made definition, so it's the kind of thing you have to just like learn how to use, like speaking German. Ja, schön. You just have to get used to it. It's the language we set up.
If the point itself were truly half, wouldn't it be in the high 40s?
Technically speaking,
so that
right?
they're actually like at 50 rather than above 50.
I mean, yeah. There's some issue involved in that too, right, Eric? I mean, if we're talking about it that way. And the kicker is because of where the 14s fell in this data set. They fell, if you line them all up in order, they fell in positions 11, 12, and 13. Which is interesting because that 13th one is the literal middle of the data set in order. But calculating it as a percentage below, like we're doing, you can't get a whole number because it sticks out halfway. So it does present an issue. Just, this is what I mean, I want you to think of it this way, because this is where it's going to hover over time. It's like the asymptotic behavior of the Excel spreadsheets. They eventually hover in. Same exact thing. Think of it like that, more than trying to make every data set fit in perfectly. Is that fair? Hopefully. It'll become more fair, I think. Now let's go back over to here. Can any